pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All meeting to order. We have an agenda in front of us. Do I hear approval?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any additions or corrections to the agenda other than health insurance was just going to be discussed? So, okay. Nothing else?
Nothing else.
On approval of the agenda as printed, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Agenda has been approved. Public comment. Seeing none, we'll go into approval of the minutes from January 27th.
I will move to approve as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of the minutes from January 27th, say aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. Minutes have been approved.
Move to approve and authorize the auditor to issue checks for claims.
Second.
First and second, just right here. We have approval of claims. All in favor say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Claims have been approved. We're at personnel additions, and we're going to do just two right now. Caitlin Diane Sweeter, the treasurer's office, which is a hire. And then we'll have also Dominic Griffin, scale increase for CBS.
Would vote to approve additions and pay changes.
Why does the first one sound so familiar?
She was in the auditor's office,
Ah, okay.
and she's went over to
Second.
office. First and seconded, all in favor of the personnel changes, say aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. Those have been approved. Budget review, 27, anything?
I think we'll catch it when we
Okay.
get to later on the agenda.
Okay. Board and committee updates. Dewey, anything? Dewey's checking his calendar.
No, I have nothing.
Corey?
Wednesday, I had a Teams meeting for Northeast Iowa Community Action, just our fundraising committee that I sit on. It was just building off the December meeting. We set a goal internally of $100,000 local fund to raise local funds for 2026, and that's outside of the annual campaign that we already do to meet the kind of underfunded needs for the fiscal year. Put together a rough outline of how we're going to get there, and then we'll be meeting again in February. Wednesday night, I was in Des Moines for Sierra Club reception for legislators, landowners, supervisors, respect to the pipeline projects. We had supervisors from Mitchell, Wright, Buchanan, Shelby, and myself from Bremer. Really well attended with legislators, good presentation. Former Supervisor Kinkle from Shelby County was there and spoke. One of the big selling items on the pipeline projects has been the increased value to the corn, to the producers at the ethanol plants. And the GEVO project in Nebraska is up and running, and there are 15 ethanol plants that are connected to that and have been for several months now. They did a price comparison here over the last month of spot prices and future prices with New Harvest. There is negligible difference. I've got a printout of it I can share with you, but there's no difference in price to the producer with those projects up and running. So that transfer through that was proposed and that is lobbied out there with the pipeline project doesn't seem to actually exist as a credit back to the producers for these projects. Thursday with statewide supervisor meeting. A lot of apprehension in the room over loss of local control over funding authority with new tax legislation, the spending authority, with the new property tax bills. Also kind of a consistent pushback in the request to change the back the blue language to slow the wage race that we're seeing in public safety across the state. And I talked to Jamie at one of our breaks about with the push for collaborative cooperation across counties to share services and cut costs, to put together reach out to all the counties and try to build a success story list of efforts that have already occurred across the state so that we can build off of those opportunities and those experiences. And then also, not just county to county, but possibly county cities by working with the League of Cities to engage and start a more structured conversation on that. Jamie thought that was a good idea. He took it back to government relations later that day to start that process. Our guest speaker was from Oklahoma University or Oklahoma State? It was Oklahoma, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Talked about leadership and management. I thought that was a really good session. And then one building note, Friday Myron was in. We found some moisture in the wall, the south wall of building and zoning. Did a little bit of exploratory opening up. It seems to be where the windows we took out of that south wall by the new entrance. We have some moisture in the wall there, so we're figuring out a plan on that to remedy that, whether it be inside or outside, depending on where the source is coming from and how it's getting in. So we're probably going to have some repairs there.
Sounds good. So, well, same as Corey's, statewide meeting, property tax. Back to blue. I did meet with Grassley staff, talked to them about that one. Veterans was a big discussion. So seeing how productive counties are with their VSOs, and we've been working with Dan, and Dan is adding another column to his. Here's the benefit, but here's all the claims submitted, so you get a better feel of, okay, how many claims is he submitting, and then you can kind of cross-reference, okay, this is the number of people that died, moved, or et cetera. So see a little bit better trend line on how he's growing that. So that's something that was interesting to see. And of course, everybody's against wind, so it's I don't know if that comes up, but nothing big. I did talk to Keith about training. One thing, compared to supervisors to the cities, we used to do breakout sessions. So we go down to our municipality group and we'd have like 10 options of breakout sessions. And, we don't do that at the supervisor level. That's something I think they should consider. So I talked to Keith about that. So we would always divide at the city level. Okay, this council member goes to this issue, and another council member goes to this issue, et cetera. So got a little bit more, in depth and talk about issues and success stories. So I'll give a list to Keith.
They do give you some options at the spring and fall conferences in that regard.
They do. And yeah, some of them, like you might go to an auditor, more focused one and stuff like that. But they are still large group, very large groups. But
might be because of the chemistry of the people they're training.
Yeah. But it's something for him to take back. But otherwise, pretty good session. So
good.
Very well attended. There was, I'd say, right at about 200 in the room. I tried to take a rough count about mid-morning, and it was, I'd say, close to 200 attendees.
Yeah, I thought they'd go more in depth on the property tax, but they didn't really have time to do that. So that's,
or didn't really want to do that yet.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, I don't like our approach where we don't have, as a state organization, we don't have here's what we believe.
And part of that challenge is because of the
number of counties.
Well, the number of counties and breakdown, you know, there's a, as you sit in the, what do they call those sessions at the end of all of our conferences?
Hot topics.
Hot topics. You realize the challenge that it is for ISAC because, well, I'll just say it, there's the Democrat version and there's the Republican version, and they have to try to represent both of those because they're representing all 99 counties and all supervisors from all those 99 counties, and therefore it gets real challenging for them.
And then you have the urban versus rural too.
And that's even, well, typically that's the breakdown,
Right.
Corey. Typically that's
Yeah.
also the
Right.
political breakdown. So,
Yeah, but from a legislative standpoint, if there's nothing that the ISAC is proposing as an alternative, it's hard to gauge, you know, oh, I hear my county's against it for this reason, but there's no solid voice that's.
but that's my point, Bob.
It is.
You can't get a concurrence or an agreement within the counties themselves because of large county, small county, rural, city, and so it's.
One message delivered out of it, like from the supervisors to ISAC, was that one size doesn't fit all, that there needs to be within the code an acknowledgement of the urban county that has substantial growth versus the rural county that may be declining in population, and how you approach this method, and trying to find systems that acknowledge that.
That would be phenomenal if that could be accomplished, but in my years of service, I haven't even seen credible conversations about how you would approach that, so.
I agree.
It's a struggle. Yeah, and just from my days as mayor, we force our municipalities to come out with a property tax alternatives. So this is what we stood for. In the counties, we're not doing that. So that's just from a legislative view, but I understand. All righty, that's boards and commissions. And we'll 9:15. Oh, other thing for road improvements, there was a couple things that we gathered from some of the vendors down there, so we'll give it to Landon and do it. So it was interesting. There's one vendor that's now doing like a plastic insert into storm sewers, a large one. So hopefully, you know, you don't have the compaction loss if you take it out, put a new one in, and it's supposedly good for 100 years, but it is more expensive, but it's just maybe an option. But that was a good little segue they had. Alrighty, now we'll wait. Do I need to sign things?
Yep, probably you do need to. I'm not sure what part of the year that goes on that. Or starts up at.
Okay.
It might have been recent enough. It might be just you.
It's February already.
January was a long.
Morning, Lindsay.
And Lindsay.
Good morning.
the side.
There are a couple.
Alrighty, we have Lindsay in front of us. We're gonna be going through Department 8, 9, and 23 in your budget books. So we'll turn it over to Lindsay. What do you got for us? Can you go through your rough changes?
The wages haven't changed since Barb was here and presented everything on the wage study. Myself and my administrative staff, we were just at the COLA 2.8. My inspectors, one has a little bit more of a higher increase to get into the industry standard, and another one has some provided for credential increases. As far as my expenses, Department 8 and Department 9 have only gone up about 1.3% compared to FY26 requests. No significant changes there.
Questions?
I don't have any questions.
Department 23 is the well grant, so that's just a pass-through for expense and revenues. Pretty standard. They are working on FY27 contracts currently, so hopefully I will see what that looks like by May.
Okay. And once again, for the well grants, people should be contacting your office, especially if they're not using their well anymore.
Correct. If it is not being used, it needs to be abandoned within 90 days.
Okay.
Revenue, pretty straightforward.
Lindsay, you run a good department. Appreciate the work that you do. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
I will add that since I've been here, we have not raised our permit fees, building permit, septic well fees, and we have a lot of counties calling and telling us that we are low, but I'm okay with that. If we are able to kind of break even, I'm okay not having to raise those fees.
As long as you're covering all your costs.
Correct.
And so just make sure that you understand your costs. So. And from other our other counties predominantly, I mean, where are we on the pack?
We're in the middle.
Okay. And that is okay.
Right.
Okay. If we get way too low, then yeah, that's something.
Then it's costing the taxpayers and it's not a fee for service, correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Great. So this next year, what would you consider to be your goals for your department? Anything, new initiatives, or what would be your goals?
Our goals, I think, for the next year, depending on what policies the county comes up with regarding technology and AI, was to see what we can automate and streamline things, make things faster, more efficient.
Okay. And so you'll be monitoring other counties and other initiatives of how people are using AI, potentially to feed in, requests and analyze it, do a first brush.
Correct.
Okay. And I assume your association and stuff like that, it has some sessions going on
Yes.
around that time.
Yep.
Okay. So use of AI, what other initiatives or goals?
That's probably the biggest one, is to see how we can implement that to be
Okay.
efficient.
Any sharing opportunities from surrounding counties? I know we've talked about it before.
That there's probably going to be opportunity. There's a lot of counties talking to each other. What's your job description? What's your salary? where's your board at? So the counties are all talking to each other, so that
Okay.
might be a possibility.
Okay. And from our county, I mean, any concerns that we allow her to talk to other counties about sharing opportunities or?
I don't have any concerns with it, other than from a practicality perspective. I wouldn't want you to get into situations where you got, if you share with two other counties,
Right.
where you have two other regulations. I think that the requirement would be that it had to be counties with similar rules and regulations
Correct.
and ordinances, so that you don't become theoretically their employee when you're working up there.
Right.
So.
Okay. So sharing opportunities, that is good. And yeah, just be transparent in those discussions, but I think we need to be moving definitely in that area, so if there's a good opportunity.
Okay.
You feel like working with some of the municipalities that you're being compensated for the time spent?
That could be looked at an increase. They are getting a service for pennies. And I don't think any municipality would bulk at it if we asked for a little more fees. Because right now they're paying $2.20 a quarter.
So that would be a good review. Maybe you can get that back to us by, sometime in this summer.
Do they pass that cost on to fees also? Do you know, do they have permit application fees and such that they gather, and that's what pays those dollars to us, or do they
Yes.
pay it through taxation?
So with the city of Waverly, they get 10% of all our building permit fees, not electrical, plumbing, mechanical. But all the other municipalities, we get 100% of those building permit fees, which helps offset that cost for planning and zoning services a little bit.
I guess I just, identify where there's an inequity of, time spent, the burden from your office versus what you're actually, the service you're providing.
Okay.
And those areas we can look into deeper and figure out how to bring equity across so that the revenue is being generated, or like your time is being compensated as equally as possible across all functions.
Okay. I will look into that.
Alrighty, so that's some good goals for this next year, so we appreciate looking at that. And once again, I think we're asking all department heads to review their fees, structures, and make sure that, try to reduce the general fund as much as possible.
Right.
So thank you. Anything else?
Something else is good.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Did everyone get Nate's email, the breakout?
Yep.
Okay, you didn't put who he was sending it to, so I didn't know.
But I've been leaning towards brothers, so. Okay, sounds good. Yep, bye-bye.
Morning.
Okay.
We got your email, so I appreciate that, a little bit more in-depth information. So we'll just kick off here in about a minute.
Sounds good.
Alrighty, Nate, our IS Director. So we're gonna be in budget item 52. So we'll kick it off to you, and you can kind of go through some of your changes from last year to this year. And then at some point at the end, we'll ask you about your goals for this next year too.
Perfect. So both my salary and Brent's, I worked with Barb on that. Basically just went through the wage study, all the sheets, and recommendations. So virtually, my big line items I sent in that email, and those are broke out. I can go through those just for some further explanation as well. Stationary forms didn't change. 290 is kind of our hardware where we pull everything from every year. So let me bring that spreadsheet up.
So that's the first tab of the spreadsheet. There's 3 tabs in it.
Correct. So this year we've got 15 replacement PCs scheduled. We're on a 5-year replacement schedule. For the most part, we try to keep everything up and running as long as we can. So a lot of those PCs we take out, we keep the parts and we make sure everything else keeps running. Miscellaneous monitors, printers, PC parts. Again, that's kind of a catch-all. So just like here a second ago, I had a call, we got a printer down. So that's where usually that funding comes from. And then continuing down. Postage mailing didn't change. 414, years ago I had broken this out into 3 line items. It's much easier just to combine them again. So that's going to encapsulate 401 and 405. And there is, I believe, a breakout in the tab sheet again. I'll explain that a little bit more. Cell phone, the City of Waverly fiber and ISP. So we have dark fiber still in place where it's something that we tried to phase out, but it still runs between here and the Law Center. Everything else has been replaced with the city or the utilities company's fiber between us, the engineers, Drexler, and the Law Center. That fiber, depending on what happens with the courthouse, we'll probably yank that out, the old fiber. We're actually being billed just for the new fiber, so that's something we almost basically own. So we would be responsible to replace that if we tear it out. Phone for the courthouse. This SIP circuit encapsulates all phone numbers for the entire courthouse that's on our system. So that's the engineers, Drexler, I believe. Basically any phone number that used to belong to the courthouse and the annex, so VA. At one point in time, they were on a 299 and we ported that into our system. And then cloud fax. We still offer this for roughly 6 departments. It's about $50 a month, and that's for physical faxing.
Okay.
That takes us right down to educational stuff. $1,000, that hasn't changed. A lot of times when we have any new products coming in, we'll use this line item for that. Planning and management consulting, that's a lot of times where we use for our phone system, Gordon Flesh, or any other outside consultants, if we have to pay them their technical fees. I think Gordon Flesh went up to $175 an hour just to do simple phone changes. Annual support agreements. This is another really big one. Let me go over to my tab. All right. So in here it's broken out, and this is all based off of when I paid it last. So I try to project into the future what it's going to be. It's hit or miss. So Adobe 780, I know last year I paid $620 or somewhere around there. Mimecast, $19,000. That does all of our secure encryption email. Also took over for our training, so that's where the training piece comes in. That was Wiser at one time. Oakland, which is Laserfish. I had to negotiate this down last year because a lot of departments have moved away from using Laserfish, although they still use the repository. So that's where all the documents are scanned and kept. I know time cards, a lot of the driver's records are in there. I don't think he's using that anymore. And then the recorders moved away from that as well. We still house them here, they're just not using Laserfish.
Just for backup, we're looking at old stuff right now.
Correct. So that big project Missy just had completed, it's similar to that, but Laserfish is kind of an industry standard where you can actually share those documents by checking them out as I want to say they call it a briefcase or something along those lines. And the way that they're scanned, it's all that legal stuff that it has to be kept in a certain type of format. Tyler, this is a moving target just about every year. I'm in the middle of trying to have something amended to get a piece of this taken out. I did not pay for benefits enrollment, which I don't believe has ever been used or set up, but they try to charge us for it every year, so it's a fight every year. And I think Shelley and Cassandra could probably attest to that their billing is convoluted, to say the least. They'll try to sneak things in, and we get billed probably about 4 times a year. So this year, I caught it on the first try, didn't pay it, and they called finally. So I've been reaching out to them. They don't return my phone calls, but if you don't pay the bill, they will. Sophos.
What does our contract with them say?
This should be the last of the 5-year contract from the very last migration we did from ERP. The person that I spoke with on the phone, he said he's going to put in for an amendment as of last November, so that we won't be billed or outstanding for that balance. I did this the year prior to that, and I don't think I had an answer. I think Barb, at the time, we were still going to try benefits enrollment, try to get everybody, and it just never took place. And that's total over a year is about $16,000, $16,651, somewhere on there. So that we will not be paying this year. Again, with it being a moving target, I know last year I did end up paying for the educational part, which they've changed, so it's hard to budget now that that's included in your subscription. So we'll figure out what that is here probably next October when I get that bill. Sophos is our endpoint antivirus and server antivirus. Revise is our website, which that'll be all changing again. With that, I've got to roll into the new training for the agenda builder as well. SSL certificates, this has already got to be amended because I just paid this last week. It went from $1,100 to $1,200. So every year it's hard to say what that's going to be. And that allows for basically our presence on the internet to be secure. So Bob could probably tell you with the secure certificate, you almost have to have one. Our firewall, that's $4,900. That is kind of a moving target too. I think this year we're going to try to replace that entirely, but stay within that footprint. BombGuard is our remote support and endpoint client support. That's $6,174. ICIT is the ISAC affiliate. Veeam is our backup. So that is just the software piece of it. So that's what does all of our backups. It's super granular. It's been a really great addition to what we had before. And then Wasabi, you'll see below that, that's actually the storage piece. That's what we push up to the cloud, and we keep that encrypted and all that good stuff. DNS service, our domain name service, this is what allows us to be reachable from the outside. Our new phone agreement with SCI, that's annual support for the phone system, the hardware itself. Wiser training zeroed out. We've taken that up with Mimecast. Amazon Prime, that's something we just did this year. I'd done it before. Save on shipping, big time. I know we've had situations where I've needed a piece. Actually, it was GIS. Their machine went down. I needed a part overnight, and then Prime did it for free instead of paying the $170 they wanted. So
is that their business?
That's their business, and usually I negotiate that down. So I think we ended up paying like $150 for this Prime membership. So they send out an invoice, I call them, and I talk with them. So,
And all departments can use that?
Correct. Every department is set up on Prime that requested it. I know we've had some turnover, and so we just need to get them added back in. The problem we run into is when people use their work email for their personal Amazon, because then we have to request the change on their personal Amazon to use their work email, which we haven't run into recently. Duo MFA, this is our multi-factor authentication, $5,808. There's a piece of that that it's not incorporated in this that the sheriff pays for his, I think he's got 70 licenses with them. But in order for us to get that, we had to be under one contract, so I have to break them out every year.
So $175,000 covers basically all rental agreements, contracts and such.
For the entirety of Bremer County,
Right.
correct? Yep. I've tried to break that out. I know with building zoning, they now cover iWorks. Eagle Recorder, I pushed Missy's now covering. Otherwise, you can't break them out of these invoices, whether it's financial or taxes. The way that they integrate them into this is, it would take, a couple weeks to get that figured out. After that, workman's comp, all that stuff just was figured off of wage sheets. There is a potential, I didn't get it into this budget because we're still working through our Microsoft tenants and trying to figure out the best way of going about this. Moving to Office 365 G3, which is the government, we're eventually going to have to get there one way or another. I just wasn't able to get the numbers to you fast enough because of the contractual obligations you have to enter into these Microsoft tenants in order to get an actual license quote. The only thing I can go off of is the GSA schedule, and that's roughly $12 per person per month to have access to email, to Word, Excel, all the Office products. With that, you do get better Office continuity. You get access to SharePoint and Teams and these things that we're not currently licensed for. So that's something that I'm still working on. It's going to be a huge technical challenge.
And training challenge.
To migrate. Hopefully end user training isn't terrible. I have submitted for a demo of it right now just to see what we can do. There's a couple of things that could change in that. We could possibly look at changing our domain to the actual .gov for even our emails. It would be a headache, but it could be done. So that's something that's on the, I guess I should have covered that under the future or goals. But that's pretty much all the line items in a nutshell.
Any questions on the budgets?
Explained it pretty well.
So let's talk about your goals this next year. So what are your top 3 goals?
To not be surprised. I want to be prepared for what's coming down the pike. And the rest of them are really just getting the environment up to speed. So currently we're on a Class C. I'm sure you know what that is, Bob, subnet, and that only allows for 254 devices. As it sits right now, we're over that, so we're constantly having to take old devices offline to bring new ones online. So we'll be moving to a Class B, which is going to be a very long weekend for us. And really just trying to maintain what we have. Through that last amendment, we've got another 3 years on hardware for the entire data center. So we're good for another 3 years. Unfortunately, the way hardware is cyclical like that. You can plan for it to come back up in 3 years. I know you had just started when we did the data center project. So another 3 years we're covered, and then I got to come back down and beg for money in 3 years for that. But actually, the equipment's holding up really, really well. That's the only reason we extended it. I would say we're probably around 60% utilization of the actual storage. So we spec'd it properly the first time, so we'll end up getting 7 years out of the whole data center.
And you're in your progress for the website update.
Mhm.
So you're working with department heads, and what's the planned rollout date?
So this week I'm going to put out the schedule. Each department can schedule that on their own. If need be, we can look at doing the conference room. I think it's more beneficial, and I included that in the email, if everybody's at their desk, because they can actually make changes in the sandbox. It won't matter, you can always reverse that. So after that part's done, rollout will be pretty quick. I would say within a week after that second training, we'll be live. Brent and myself will have to go back and migrate any data or content that wasn't migrated. I know the sheriff's office, we've identified a few pages now. and then kind of hit the ground rolling. We will have to schedule for the agenda builder after that, which each department will be able to partake in. I know we're going to start with you on that one, so.
Me and probably Bob, it'll be one of the
Okay.
board members.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Do we do any kind of solicitation from end users regarding our website convenience use and such? So we all know that Shelley's office and Missy's office have a lot of people seeking information from the records maintained at those, the attorneys, the realtors, all. Do we seek out their advice and thoughts on how we could make it easier for them to gather information from us, or?
I don't actively seek any of that. I usually get that information from the department heads and elected officials.
I suspect you do get some questions, Shelley,
Elections,
about.
for sure. I know that's something that's been brought up.
Yeah, from Dewey's standpoint, the department heads need to be thinking that their hats, from a constituent standpoint and their standpoint. I know we talked about, how the agendas and minutes, making sure they're arranged in like an alphabetical order, that's what people will want, but yes.
And part of the training in that, it gives everybody the opportunity, even if you don't do it, you can still call Brent or myself and we can make the changes. You can personalize your page to whatever extent you want, within reason. There's still some checks and balances there. You're not gonna link it out to another page without it being okayed first.
Yep. We want some consistency too, so I think, just being on YouTube, as the public listens to this, if they have suggestions and so forth, contact, Nate or supervisor, so we can forward on to them.
Absolutely.
Too, so good, so that's a good one. I know ISAC does some security reviews. When's the last time we've done a security review with ISAC?
With ISAC,
Yeah.
it has been a while with them specifically. We go through the CISA audits yearly, and then our CGIS audit yearly as well. I can look into doing the affiliate security review. I did see in the latest mailing, they said they mentioned something about that.
And like you said, we need to prevent headaches, so, making sure security and, off-site backups, cloud backups are critical, so definitely appreciate all your work there to minimize outages, so thank you.
Not a problem. We don't like outages, and we try to keep those to a bare minimum.
Nate, the state legislature, one of their areas of focus is IT, from a property tax standpoint and finding savings. Is there anything that has been discussed, like sharing or like larger platforms for software, like accounting and management, like the Tyler rollout? Is there something that can be like a top-down model of administration software? Like where are those savings going to come from that they're discussing?
That would be an interesting discussion I'd like to take part in. Having been doing this for so long, we've had those discussions in the past, and they're fleeting at best. So it'd be interesting to see what a proposition, how they're planning on doing it. Because I believe there's only 3 large ERP companies in the state of Iowa right now for the 99 counties, which one being Tyler, formerly known as Solutions. I don't even know what they've named, and then some in-house. And that's going to be for financials and for taxes. As far as, and I've had some feedback, migrating to Teams or to Office 365 SharePoint, again, that allows for continuity. So I see a lot of other counties are already on that, or they've migrated to it. But as far as an all-encompassing package, I'd be curious.
I could see the advantages from an auditing standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
the commonality, but what I keep pushing for is to engage with the counties and engage with municipalities to, if you're going to go in that direction, get your feedback. Don't deliver it in a top-down.
Mm-hmm.
Work with everybody to have a workable solution.
Yeah, and if you're talking specifically like about Tyler, because they do civil as well, like cities, and So, and I run across their websites every once in a while, and I recognize it almost immediately, just from having to work the back end of it for so long. So, yeah, I'll have to keep my eye out on that, on the affiliate side. Generally, I don't get to go to those meetings, just because by the time I get back, I'm 3 weeks behind. And I've only learned about things that we can't afford, or that we would, move to in the future, so.
Well, Dewey's retiring, so, maybe we'll loosen up the purse a little bit, so.
Well, congratulations, by the way. I wish you well on that.
Yeah, he's done a great job, so.
Unless you have anything else for me, that's
No,
it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
Good morning.
Good morning. Gonna have all 3 of you sit up front? You wanna sit up front? Okay.
She's learning about county government today.
Morning.
Good morning. So we're here to discuss the Fair Board request and kind of learn about the economic development, and then we want to have a little discussion about the county property out there. So those are the 2 bullet items, and I'll just turn it over, and so we can learn a little bit more.
Yes, so I know you guys had a question about economic impact that we had. So I did reach out to the Waverly Chamber just to get some more details to see what kind of numbers that they had, if they had any concrete ones. And they said that does involve a full study, which they do not have. It also costs lots and lots of money to do a study like that. So they gave me some formulas and different things that we could just kind of do our own numbers. So I did kind of add some stuff up, and this is very conservative numbers, and it goes back to the financial report that was sent back to you guys, or that was sent to you guys at the last time that we conversed. So one of them was the estimated attendance was at 72,000. So the chamber told me that for every dollar spent, about 68 cents then goes back into the local economy. So if we are assuming that 72,000 people that came to the fair spent $10, which I know I spend way more than $10 when I go to fair, that would probably just even be just to get into whatever event. We have some events that are more than $10. So again, conservative number. We're looking at just shy of $500,000 just for that perspective. If we look at the fair expenses in general that we have, that was listed on the expenses. So again, things that we have to purchase or do, services, that money goes back in the economy as well. We were at ish numbers, just shy of 300,000. Any capital improvements that we made this year, we were at about $1 million, just a little over actually. That would potentially be going back into the economy here locally. And equipment purchases, which as we, that goes back in as well. So that was about 74,000 that went back in. So based on that, it was about 1.4 is our estimated amount of what went into the local economy based off of our annual report. So that's just this year. That's showing those numbers. Another thing that we have to look at too is we had several exhibits at the fair. So we have obviously the 4-Hers and the FFA exhibitors that come in, and then we have our open classes as well. So we had about 1,700 exhibits at the Bremer County Fair this last year, and so with that, you have to remember that people are purchasing supplies for those exhibits. we like to joke, over by Sumner, we have Norby's, and now is the time to purchase your show stuff at Norby's, because we will probably buy Norby's out of their show stuff. So that money goes back into. We also hand out premiums and award money as well. And anybody who's been at the fair and seen the second those kids get that cash in hand for their premium, they are probably going to buy mini donuts or some tacos or something like that. So we put out about $13,600 in premiums and awards that we're pretty sure probably went back into the economy some way or another on the fairgrounds. Something that is not included here in these numbers is any of the vendors. So when Taco Shack comes in, whatever they sold, and the supplies they bought, that is not in these numbers either. So as you know, we have tons and tons of vendors as well. So those numbers we do not have, but I did the best I could to give you guys something based off of what the chamber could give us. Do you have any questions about any of that?
Yeah, and we understand that it would take a study to really, we know, okay, there's an economic impact, how much is that local, because when you buy a capital thing from way outside, it may not affect us as much locally, but we do know, yes, you do have an economic impact, so a positive economic impact. So
Yes.
This is some good information, so.
Yeah, that was the exact data I was looking for. I wasn't expecting to go to the depth of a study, but just to give us some kind of high-level numbers. So they're
Okay.
good.
So you are providing some type of economic impact, and what you're requesting is you have a project for walkability out there, and I know you sent something to us. I'm just trying to pull it up here. So you want to create a walkway from the event center, I think 3 different ways. Is that kind of what you're?
Yes, I'm gonna pull up the picture as well, just so that way we can kind of, there's different colors on there, so that might be able to help.
Okay.
So we're looking at, for sure, and Roy can share some information as well. The pink is the different walkways. I know we talked about the one going to the north east. It kind of has to do some special stuff because of the grade there. And that would be a walkway. We have a walkway over on the west side that is heading down towards the promenade as well. And then again towards the livestock building. And as we mentioned the last time, that is where we really learned last year of where the traffic flows. We made sure we paid attention to just natural walkways of what people chose, and that's kind of where it landed, and so we're gonna go with the crowd on that one. We obviously then have plans moving forward to, once we get some stuff more groundwork, putting one towards the ticket taker, our ticket section. And then we wanna make sure that we are adding those parking spots like we talked about last time, so that way we're making sure that we're appropriate for handicap accessible and just easier access for families and everything. So we are looking at putting the concrete or the hard parking along the livestock building and then up by the event center as well. And then we would love to make sure that they're on the purple, that those areas are hard as well. So that way strollers and wheelchairs and emergency management can all get through there efficiently. So this is definitely a more than just one phase project.
Do you have any other funding sources for those pathways and parking lots?
Yeah, so, that's another one of those projects that I've kind of taken under my wing a little bit, and that is trying to find places for hard surface. So currently we have one gift that just came in for 10 grand, strictly for sidewalking, so it's earmarked for the sidewalks. Wet sidewalks wasn't dialed in at the time, just said we would like ADA or something we can run our wheelchair, so it's ADA approved. So that's what we'll do with those 3 that we are calling out right now. Those are 3 that are identified to try to get people hooked up to certain key venue areas and the buildings. Eventually we got to get to those buildings down there. So, but we have proposals in place, so we only have one right now, okay, do we? And that just takes somebody yet going out face to face, which we're doing that. But let's go back to those three. I got to thinking about that. Those three were something that we could establish and get done yet this year for sure. No doubt about it. But I have proposals for hard surface parking lot in front of the event center, the whole thing, either asphalt or concrete. I have those proposals already, so they're quoted. Just for educational purposes, $149,000 puts you in an asphalt parking lot. $190,000 gives you a concrete parking lot. Okay, so we've got those quoted already. Those are on proposals. They're estimated out. Then I backed it off and said, okay, until I can find a source to pay for those, let's try to work with the handicap part of it, and let's go put 100 foot of 22-foot wide concrete along that whole parking lot on the north side of the parking lot, right next to the event center. So you could do that, like she said, but I would go all the way, just do the whole thing, and then that way you can pick and choose where those handicaps really should be. So that's already in works on a proposal. It's real simple math when you're trying to put that math or that price together on concrete. Back to the three that have been identified, one goes to the promenade. The promenade will become a hard surface too. That will either be an asphalt. We have a partner out there, Heartland Asphalt. They're good partners right now with us. They've been with us now for about 3 years. And they give us, like I'm sitting on 180 tandem times 15 yards, 13 tons. So several asphalt millings. So I get a lot of their millings. So I got piles of millings. So I can still go ahead and apply millings and get hard surfaces, but not the concrete we want, but we can still make use of those. So, but the promenade will not have sidewalks on both sides of it. The promenade itself will be a hard surface, 35 feet wide. That will be all hard surface. So that's a long-term plan right there.
And that's your north purple line.
Yeah, that's that
map.
one that runs
Yep.
east and west, the promenade, that's where all the vendors are. That will become hard surface all the way from 39th Street. And
With millings?
no, at this point, it's not determined because we would still have to get a lot more millings. But there'll be a day where we can find another a donation that will help us with that, or a grant.
You might have like 2 phases, temporary
Correct.
phase and then a permanent phase.
Correct me, we have $6 million invested already over 3 years out there, okay? So we know how to find the money. We're sitting on $5 million in cash and $1 million in kind. So we've pulled together $6 million already on that project.
So that brings me up to my next question regarding the bequest. Because based on my experience out there, we need to try to help get some of these things done sooner than later. But I'd like to hear the long-term. Is the goal of the Fair Board to help it become, once again, self-sustaining to where we could go back to having a $20,000 a year commitment from the taxpayer? Or is it the goal of the Fair Board to rely on an additional $40,000 every year from the Board of Supervisors? For budgeting purposes, I think that needs to be determined sooner than later.
So I can add that because I've been in this office and this seat many times before. It would not be our intent, though, to go outside of our normal ask. We did that again this year. Because the timing's very crucial, we still need some sidewalks. And so if the sidewalk costs right now are pushing that, 25,000 mark? So, or no, the total concrete that makes those mobile, so it makes people mobile to get to down to the swine building and to the livestock building, you still have to put concrete between those two buildings. So we included that into this year's. So that's a $50,000 worth of concrete to pour this year. outside of that, I can't see us I mean, it would be great, guys, if you could support every year in a larger amount, but I understand the realistic side of it. We still do a very good job of finding monies out there, but when somebody earmarks for 10,000 and she tells me she wants to put sidewalks in yet this year before this coming fair, now we had to scale it back and make it so we could get that done.
Well, Roy, I
yeah.
think that we've had this conversation
Yeah.
both privately and publicly, that one of the reasons I think that you get, and you've acknowledged this, you get good support is because people know they're not gonna turn around and pay it in taxes on
Bingo.
on top of it.
That's right.
You know, if they're donating, they know that then we're not gonna tax them for the same thing.
I'll
So-
give you another unofficial goal of ours would be, and I have numbers always, I always deal with numbers all the time, and sometimes it gets kind of like blindsided, but the event center, that's going to be used for increasing our income for the year. My goal would be $250,000 off of that building per year. That allows us to pay down the debt and do future projects. And then that I attach it to the event center, but to be honest with you, that whole fairgrounds is an unbelievable place for venues going forward.
I agree, location.
Oh my gosh, it's a win-win-win, and I would expect us to generate, we're gonna get away from the old school of making $50,000 off the 4-H building, and I'm hoping to see $250,000 out of that building, you know, and we really need that. We need that, and I see it being very, very possible, so.
And when we were in here last time, we discussed how there's a possibility that we might be adding that event coordinator position to help increase events out there, and making sure that we are hosting different things as well. And so that position has passed with the board. So we are moving forward with that. So I think you guys are going to be seeing a lot of stuff coming up, like Roy was saying, very quickly, that it's going to be held out there as well.
That's great. I think that you're absolutely bringing a great service to the county, and so I applaud your efforts. You know, you had a dream, and the dream became more of a reality. So that's a great thing. So I just needed to know if this was a kind of if we could look at it as a one-time ask.
I know where you're going
with it. And you've answered that question,
Yeah,
so
I
I'm
did.
pretty comfortable.
That's what we needed to hear. Thank you for coming in today.
Property discussion, I know we're kind of running out of time, but we do own a parcel out there, that Bremer County does, front parcel. When, and then this is more of the board, when should we take action on that, or what does the board believe?
I'll jump on that because that was reality of the public health. I think that we should absolutely confirm that there's no future need
Okay.
for any public Bremer County entity to utilize any part of that. If there is some sort of need, then I think that we should work with them to determine how it could be cohabitated.
Correct.
In potential use. And then, if we have none, then we have a conversation with their board to try to move the property back to their name. Is that comfortable with you?
That would be comfortable because of Bob being on board and Corey now. One thing about it, the only reason you own that parcel is because it's you guys. That's the only way you got it. We would never have sold that. I would never have had that platted out like it did. But because of your goal or what you guys were trying to accomplish, we felt we should partner with you. But outside of that, we definitely have to go back to the table and talk about how we use that.
But that's why we put also in the right of first
You betcha.
reclaim that you have that right. So, you know, I think we can work to a comfortable conclusion. I think, Bob, we just need to find out what our needs are and then
Fair enough.
communicate about it.
Fair enough.
Okay, so that's on our task list to do, so,
Okay.
all righty. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Probably my last one is, you know, this is for July 1st expenditure, so if you got it July 1st for this additional concrete, that would give you enough time.
That would give us enough time to do that, yes. Yep.
Great.
It's gonna happen. We gotta figure out
Yeah.
how we get it happen, how it's happening, so.
Yep. Okay, great. Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Landon.
Morning. I will be brief. The only item I have on for this morning is a bridge inspection contract with Calhoun Burns for 2026 and 2027. I meant to pull the old contract, but these are very similar numbers. They might even be the same as we had the last 2 years. I don't recall for sure, but they're pretty similar. No major increase. The fluctuating overall costs primarily come from those three they have bulleted out. For example, our fracture critical bridges, we've only got one remaining and we're planning to remove that one. So those fluctuate a little bit, but our overall inspection costs on this are
We're
pretty
still
similar.
happy with the service. that
Yes,
Calhoun-
very. Yep.
I move to approve the contract and authorize the chair to sign with Calhoun.
Second.
We have first, second, any more discussion?
Those numbers do seem very similar to what we
Yeah,
have.
I don't remember exactly what they were, but they're very close.
Okay. All in favor of the Calhoun contract, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Thank you very much.
And then Landon, we picked this up at our supervisor meeting.
Oh, yeah.
I
He's
bet
actually,
I bet you've seen it a time or two.
yeah, I talked to Chad quite a bit. He's actually looking at a few of those V21 culverts for us, to see if we can get a few of those done without interrupting the flow of traffic.
Yeah, and long-term, you know, any shifts in the, if you replace it, you'd have, you know, some
Yep.
issue maybe with long-term with the
Right.
road, so this might be an option.
Yep, he did, they did several of them for us last year up on V14, where we had paved it, you know, whenever that PCC overlay was done, not super long ago.
North of Horton.
It was before, yeah, before my time, but some of those culverts were bad.
Six, maybe?
Yeah, shortly before I started.
Yeah.
And we had them come in last year because there were a couple going bad, and that we didn't have to rip that up, so. They do good work. It's a very, very interesting product to watch go in.
Does that create a more easily flow through them?
I would think.
with plastic?
They,
it's
in
Yeah.
their
supposed to
presentation,
rough
they said it did. The CV
Yeah,
number
they
is
did, okay,
actually
yeah.
better
I
than
would certainly
concrete.
think from looking
Yeah.
at them.
You don't have the rivs, it reduces the size, but it allows better flow.
it? Maybe that's what we ought to do with that one in Horton,
Oh, yeah.
as a maintenance thing.
See if it wouldn't silt in so bad
Right,
there.
right.
So you do have some numbers from V14 that we could look at
Yeah.
cost comparison.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
But you're just here?
It was. Deja vu.
We'll just wait for a couple, 2 minutes, and then we'll get our next agenda item, so. And just remind the public, we are on YouTube televised, so just be aware of that.
Lindsay, are you gonna attend 11:15 too? Planning to?
I can,
Probably should.
after closed session, yeah.
During it, you should probably be here for it.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it's-
Yeah, I will. Yes.
Chair, I move to open the public hearing regarding ORAT's request on ordinance 2601.
Is there a second?
Second.
We're in public hearing, so anybody has any comments about 2601? The four-half going from A1 to A2 can now approach the well here and voice any concerns or support. Yep, so why don't you just come sit down and, so, great, state your name.
Barry Porth. We're trying to rezone part of the property to build a new house. It'll be off of there's the CRP field. It'll be in the timber area.
Go ahead and point to it. Yeah.
We're hoping to build right here.
Okay.
And then the property drops off, then it's all floodplain down below. And then we'll use this driveway temporary until the CRP gets done in 2030. And then we hope to put a driveway in where that fire break is at, to come back straight into where the house will be built. And then plan to put the CRP back into CRP if there's any open slots for it, yes.
Is that property where, just to the right of where you pointed, where you're gonna put in the driveway, permanent driveway later, is that tillable land currently?
Yeah, it's a food plot for the Pheasants Forever.
Okay, and what's the purpose gonna be for that going forward?
It'll stay a food plot.
And who owns that one? Do you own that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct, yes.
Okay, so you own both sides of where your permanent driveway will be. One will be a food plot, one will be a CRP.
Yep. It'll stay pretty much that. It might be, the driveway might be just a little bit wider than what that fire break is. But other than that, everything else in the field will stay the same as what it is. You stay in the Pheasants Forever, you have to have a food plot for the Pheasants Forever part of it.
Okay. Anybody else for public comment?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We're here as, I'm here to represent my mom, who lives right here.
Okay, so go ahead and
We're-
switch seats, and
Yeah.
we're gonna,
We just won't
I'm
vote on it
Karen
yet.
Hostetler, and I represent my mom, Shirley Hostetler. So we're just here as an interested party, my brother and I. He was on the phone at the preliminary meeting, so we just want to make sure there's no, developments going in. And we're comfortable with Barry and Nicole going in there, so.
with the house.
Yeah.
No concerns right now, but you just wanna make sure.
Yeah, we're just listening.
Okay,
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's our concern, but we're quite comfortable with everything. So
Great.
as long as there's no development, and we're just here to listen.
Great. Good, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. We do have a first and second to go out of public hearing. And do I hear all in favor to go out of public hearing, say aye?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We are now out of public hearing. We'll go to ordinance 2601. And so Lindsay, why don't you just tell us what planning and zoning talked about on this issue, any concerns or whatever?
No concerns from planning and zoning. They'll be out of the floodplain. The ground not being built on will stay in CRP. No future plans of development. No issue. They are gonna connect to rural water, I believe, possibly. So rural water, private septic, that's fine.
So rural water's running out in front of the road?
Yes, I believe it's.
I believe it's on the west side of the
Yes,
road.
on the west side of the road.
Badger.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're out of the 100-year floodplain, they're not out of the 500, just.
Right,
100 year.
they're not in any floodplain that would be regulated where they want to build.
Move to approve the first reading and set the second reading for February 10th at 10:15.
Second.
We have a first and second to pass first ordinance of 2601 and set the time for February 10th at 10:15. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. So we'll bring this back up February 10th at 10:15. So once again, everything is on progress, so no guarantees, but everything is looking favorable.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. So we'll go to a resolution for minor plat for Plumgardner, Marion Plumgardner. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
So we're in discussion. Why don't you talk a little bit about this one?
Pretty straightforward, just splitting off the farmstead 3.42 acres from the rest of the ground. It's kind of a unique little triangle parcel.
Okay. So this is for tax planning or some,
Correct.
so no major changes.
No zoning changes, no development, no floodplain.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second for approval, so we'll vote on the resolution for the Baumgardner replat. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That resolution has passed. We'll go to the next resolution for a minor plat for 1150 265th Street. Do we hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Why don't you tell us about this one?
Walter and Rita Ruth will be transferring some land to Jeff Hickey, approximately 3 acres that will be added to his existing 3 acres to make a 6-acre parcel. The southern 3 acres that he's acquiring is mostly in the 100-year floodplain and it's timber, just acquiring it for extra land, recreation, no development, no rezoning requests.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, we'll move the resolution for the minor plat for 1150 265th Street. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That has been approved. Thank you, thank you. Okay, we'll just take a quick break and then we'll start back at 10:30. Good morning, Barb. How you doing?
Good.
And once again, for conference board, you will not be there.
I won't be there.
And you will be there.
I will, Bob. I give Aaron my phone number too, if one of you gets sick or something.
I got your phone number.
I need to be, I'll be available by phone, it's just that I'll be returning home from my day's activities, so.
Okay. Any questions?
No, that report is so well put together. concerned about the cost, obviously, always going up, but, you know,
They didn't even, they didn't give me access. I never got to it to try to see if it works this time yet. I'll get there. No problem. They told me if it worked and I haven't even tried. You'll let me know. Yep. But Stephen got you the other information that I didn't get you yesterday. Yep, so now they're off my list, so. Yeah. Good. Hey, do you know why their social security numbers didn't? I wonder why those failed. Glad we don't have to worry about it.
You probably have, I mean, obviously I haven't have, but it's not prevented.
Right, so that's how it's different. That's
Corey's
just
gonna
weird.
set that date and
Maybe
time.
it's social
No,
security
Barb's here.
numbers.
Yeah, we can do that. We can figure out a time.
That they failed for maybe aging or something, when people retire. I don't know.
Do you want to do something towards the end of the day tomorrow? I've got a committee for conference board. I could come in early for that. We could do.
Jackie Bailey's
What
leaving.
was
She get where we
That works for Barb. Barb, what's your end of day look like tomorrow? Like 3 o'clock?
To go over the health insurance numbers that we didn't get till
Would
late
that work?
last night.
I'll come in early for conference boards, come down here and we can,
So meet down here at
3 o'clock tomorrow, go over health insurance. Thank you.
This one, Bob, hold on to until the last reading for that one. You'll want to keep that on the desk.
Okay.
I think Cassandra, on the bright side, you actually got something from them.
I know, yay. Just not enough time to do anything with it.
I'm impressed you got some.
I just learned something. I never knew that Arches National Park was actually a national park around that in St. Louis. Did you know that's a national park?
I don't know that part.
It sounds like a guy that's planning some retirement vacation trips.
What was that?
Sounds like a guy.
You probably knew that, it'd be in a
Yeah.
Boise.
Yeah.
I never knew that was a national park. At the Arch in St. Louis, the area around it's a national park. Did you know that? No. Did you know that? No. No, you're the only one, Bob, because Corey says he knew it. We're just gonna call him a less than credible individual. He didn't
See,
either.
I worked at a national monument, so I used,
Okay,
so,
you cheated then.
dinosaur national monument, so I can watch those things. But yeah, when we took scouts down, we met with the National Park Service, and they did a session with us.
And no, that would not be on my vacation travels list.
Hello, friends.
Hello.
Wouldn't be one of my preferred stops right
Been there once, that's enough.
now. Yep. Did you go up in the arch?
No.
It's claustrophobic. Not many things about it, but that one did.
I went to a baseball game and it was like 97 degrees at 10:30 when the game was over. The next day, it was forecast to be even hotter than it was the day we were there. And so we got in the vehicle and loaded the family up and came home. It was just unbearable.
just gonna talk about you, Darius, that's all.
I appreciate that, thank you. Some nice daily affirmations would be great. Thank you.
So, we'll get started here. We are on Board of Supervisors discussions. I do want to give you an update on the 2080 agreement and Darius too. I kind of jumped the gun on this. I thought they're a little bit closer. They've been working on it for the past 6 months. I talked to Kyle at our statewide supervisor meeting. He does not expect this to come, get a final approval until March or April. So, you know, they have not changed much, Darius, from the original one. The biggest concern I have, and I'm just bringing it out here, that on the member termination, a member county may not withdraw or terminate membership if the commission has outstanding debt. So I just wanted to just make sure that you guys are aware of that situation. I've been in other contracts like that where you get stuck, you can't get out. But they will be sending it to their attorneys, getting it reviewed. They've really just been working on it internally, and then they'll bring it back to the full commission, probably potentially in February, probably get approval in March, I would believe, and then it'd come back to the counties. So,
Do you know, Bob, do they frequently acquire debt, or is it a body that typically does not have borrowed dollars?
they have had borrowed dollars whenever they do a new addition. So they did a new addition, so they're under debt right now, and then they do some annual, short-term debt for, maybe for payroll and other things, because their revenue stream is different, but they are currently, they have a new addition that they're paying for.
So, is there any leeway for them to work with those of us that might have concerns about that clause? That would allow us to pay whatever that debt is, that they're not letting us out for it? Because otherwise, it's kind of it could go into perpetuity if they frequently have debt, and I would be very concerned about committing the Bremer County taxpayers to be a part of that.
We're no longer part of the board. I did send that request that they should be able to figure out, what is our portion of liability, and then extract it out so many years and say, okay, this is what we would need to pay to get out. Obviously, they did not put it in.
As I'm concerned then.
Yeah. So it was just, I'm.
Thank you for your work on it. I appreciate it.
Premature. So, next item, elected officials, wages for elected officials and non-exempt departments. Barb, do you want to come up? As you know, we have eliminated the comp board, so now we are setting the wages for elected officials. And once again, Barb, Cassandra, and I have given the supervisors a wage sheet that we've discussed, and we just want to open it up for any questions, concerns, and we can ask questions of department heads too after this. And so we do have a resolution. Do you want to?
I can make copies of this resolution. Resolution in the past was a resolution that was set up that the comp board met. The comp board presented their recommendations to this board, then this board took action to either go with those recommendations or to decrease those recommendations. I've tailored one that will just be the Board of Supervisors,
And I asked last week, is that still required in the law? Or is that not required, given that we don't follow the
under the code,
compensation
you
law?
are the compensation board now. You take the place of, in those two sections of the law, you follow the duties that the compensation board would have followed.
So if we merely are taking the action, it's really more of a formality, or that to do a actual separate resolution probably.
other counties, when I talked to them, they were passing resolutions.
Yeah.
So this is exactly what we presented a couple weeks ago. Okay.
And again, this was just based off of, when we met prior and the spreadsheet was completed, kind of the recommendations that Bob, Barb, and I had on that, with a 2.8% increase for, I think, all the elected officials. I know at one point, Bob, you had talked about maybe just a 2% for the board. I put 2.8 on this spreadsheet.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd probably be personally in favor a little bit lower for supervisors, but that's me personally. So I want to open it up to questions supervisors, and then I'll open it up to some questions. I'll ask each department head here their thoughts and feelings too, so. Well,
Bob, I concur with you about a little lower for supervisors, but I've been kind of chastised at a few places around the state as I serve on things that some people feel that boards of supervisors don't really do themselves much favor when you are taking less than what your other elected officials, because you're kind of telling the public that you have less value than what those folks are. And we have, in fact, I don't think it's happened since, Corey, you were here, but at least twice, I believe it was, during my time on the board, we've taken 0 when we've given raises to other people, because that was the compensation system, and we were allowed to do that. And I don't know if that was really the most prudent thing in the world to do. So that said, I do have a question. The treasurer put in for a 5% roughly increase. This says 2.8. Are we going with the 2.8 for sure?
Well, this is up to us. I mean, so, you know, our analysis, we believe 2.8 is appropriate, so.
Okay.
But I think I will open up to department heads right now. I know Dan had some concerns, so Dan, why don't you come up? I'm just asking you a question, so make sure it's out in the public that,
Okay, when I did the budget, I followed what your recommendation was, and so again, like last year, the compensation board put out 6% for the sheriff, 4.5% for treasurer and recorder, 4% for the auditor, 4% for the county attorney, and 3% for the board. And the way the law was set up last year, you guys had the right to cut everybody, which you did, to 3%. And that's what was awarded to you guys. Without a compensation board, as you're stating, your job is to do what they do. And it's pretty clear in the code what you're supposed to compare it to. And again, I'm not pushing it to that. I just think that it needs to be looked at, because when I'm in the same building and across the hallway, somebody's making $5,000 more, doesn't have a dispatch center, doesn't have a jail, doesn't have federal inmates to deal with. I just think that the balance is off. And again, I respect the fact that I know there's limited money, so I just ask that look at it, and I guess if everyone else is doing 2.8, that's what we stay with. But you know, it's pretty clear what it's supposed to be compared to. And again, when you look around the state, you know, the wage study, I understand what they did, but there's nothing in the code for the sheriff that you talk about 11 above and 11 below, or 10 above or 10 below. That's not anything to do with the code. It's to compare to the state patrol, command officers, and DCI, and then cities of like population, police chief salaries that would be compared to. And that was one of the things they added a few years ago, and I think there's going to be an AG opinion coming out on that too. Some counties have followed it and some haven't, so. But again,
Yeah, I think, you know, we should, once that AG opinion comes out, we'll have to take a look at it.
Sure.
But I think, you know, we don't want to get in a lawsuit situation down the road, so sometime I, as chair, I will make sure that we review the AG opinion and work with Barb and et cetera, so.
yeah, and I know you'll look at it thoroughly, so I just, that's the only thing I ask is to take a look at it, so.
I feel I need to comment. I don't disagree with the logic that the sheriff just stated. I felt the same thing the entire time that I was sheriff. I know Sheriff Oxendorf felt the same way. That the city police chief makes, back when I was there, it was $14,000-15,000 more than what I was making, and literally has 25% of the responsibility. So I don't disagree with that at all, but I would say that I think the system is drastically broken. And the problem, Sheriff, and you and I've had this conversation, and it frustrates you, but at the same time, his people aren't tied to his salary, whereas
Ours aren't either.
well, okay.
In 16, they were taken off.
But they, okay. I don't want to get into an argument about that, but it does need to be looked at. I think that the idea to wait for the AG's opinion, and I think isn't there some discussion about looking at that law?
There is, I mean,
legislative level?
There is some talk about that down at the
Okay.
Hill. You know, it's a good law, but how long should go is probably a question that is going to be debated.
The discussions about the unintended consequences, that it's created a wage raise, essentially, is what it's done. And so they're looking at that as one of the cases for the property tax bill that they're looking at. And possibly it could result in an amendment to that as part of the forthcoming property tax bill.
Good. Dan, anything else?
No.
Appreciate your comment. Missy, would you like to provide any comment? Darius, want to provide any comment?
Nope, I'm good.
So we have a resolution in front of us. Any thoughts on action?
Mr. Chair, Shelley too.
Oh, I forgot. Shelley, I'm sorry. Shelley, you have any questions or concerns?
I do not. I think a 2.8 cost of living increase is very appropriate.
Thanks, Darius.
I'll move to approve resolution 26-19.
Second by the chair. Any more discussion?
I just got a question. If I'm understanding right with, I have a conflict in the treasurer's office now being connected by percentage. I believe I should abstain from this properly. Would that be your understanding, Shelley? I believe
With the
that's-
wage connection, yes.
Yeah, with that percentage, I think I should abstain from this.
I think in fairness to the taxpayer, we need to get a firm opinion on that regarding whether or not you can have conversations regarding the remainder of the office. Because from years ago, when you first were elected, it was just your wife that you couldn't comment on. I don't think it's fair as a taxpayer that you can't comment on the operation of the remainder of that office.
That's my concern
roughly
too.
18% of the
Overall
county elected officials, and that's just not fair for me as a taxpayer, and for Bob and I, frankly, because you can't, it's kind of it almost becomes a potential cop-out. So I think there's got to be some better way for us to address that. Perhaps it simply is something as simple as that salary is looked at totally separate, and therefore you don't vote on that one, you abstain from that. Just my
Right, and
feeling.
that's-
I think that we need that opinion to find out whether that's true or not.
Yeah, we'll talk to Darius afterwards, but we can go forward with this.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
any other questions? If not, we'll move resolution 2619. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. One abstain.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you do have to state your reason for abstaining, and it has to be clearly in the minutes.
I'm sorry.
I believe I did when I called the question. I have.
Corey said it, does Bob also need to say it?
No, just has to be the person not voting that has to explain
'Cause I have a
specifically why they didn't vote.
Percentage connection to the treasurer's wage increase.
Thank you.
This, okay, or, okay. Health insurance, we're gonna table that till, or you just want, why don't you give just a brief update on where we're
Well, do
at?
you want to do anything with the non-elected? Are we, is it just going to be a recommendation that everybody go back to what was originally proposed with steps?
Yeah, so what we're asking is, once again, we presented the wage salaries. Can we make sure that's all interjected into the budgets the way we presented? We can always make adjustments later, but can we just make all go through the budget for Cassandra for consistency?
I sent you a spreadsheet with,
Yeah, I think we should use the last spreadsheet you sent out, the updates after that discussion.
and I've got those. Are you guys comfortable with those minus the elected going back to 2.8?
I think that it's pretty clear with the motion we just passed.
That was just for elected now. We're talking about the overall budget for non-elected.
Right, I
that was
think we should
presented.
follow consistent.
I think that I said early on that we were doing, when we agreed to do the study, that we had to concur that if there were adjustments that needed to be made, we had to live with those, so that is still my feeling.
Okay. So you got your direction there. So health insurance, you want to just give a brief update to the public on where we're at on that?
So with the health insurance, Corey, Barb, and myself, have been working with Walmart. We're trying to look at some alternates. They may not save us on premiums, but they will save our health insurance fund because we're self-funded. If we go to higher deductibles and out-of-pocket maximums, then we're not taking on as much of the liability. The only way to really truly adjust the premium a ton would be to go to a higher stop loss. And I believe we'd asked them to get that, but that was not in the materials that they sent.
It hasn't worked out so well for us in the past.
Well, so what we found out with this last meeting with Walmart is, I think there was 40-some individuals that were up to that $10,000 mark. Well, that's not hitting your stop loss, which is over 50,000. So if we have $1,000 deductible, 2,000 out-of-pocket maximum on the copay, anything above that up to the 50,000, the county is absorbing out of their self-insurance. So just looking at ways to try and control that, because our fund is going down, without raising premiums so much that on top of having maybe a higher deductible out-of-pocket maximum, you're gonna get an employee increase to their premium. The county and the taxpayers are gonna get an increase. So we're just trying to do what we can to look at alternates. But we did not get this information till almost 10 o'clock last night. So this will be, Corey, Barb, and myself will meet again and we'll present it next week.
I think we have to try to avoid through insurance taking away the 2.8% that someone just got, because then it truly does not continue to be a cost of living increase if you turn around and take a part of it away immediately because of insurance costs. Insurance costs are a realistic part of life, and it's a benefit that we provide, and you know, it's challenging for people paying taxes too, but at the same time, you know, seems like more often than not, we end up increasing and reducing the cost of living, so
The Excel
I think
group
we have
is
to be really
working.
careful.
They're working for us right now. RFPs are out. We're trying to see if we can get a better deal. Yes, I understand, and we're doing everything that we can to try and to maybe even keep the premiums the same for next fiscal year. I just don't know that we'll be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I know deductibles may change a little bit, but, yeah, the cost, I know last year we did some family increases, so, yeah, it'll be interesting what you guys come back with, but.
Yeah, to Dewey's point, like last year with the increase we had, the change in the family insurance, my gross went up with the 3% we did last year. My net went down, you know, on my personal account. So it's, yeah, that ate up the whole COLA we saw last year just in insurance, so.
Well, and, you know, when you have to have something done, which, you know, my wife and I are in that situation. I wrote a check for just shy of $2,000 yesterday for a procedure that we had to have done. I'm later on in my career, and it's not great to have happen, but if I'm a dad with 5 kids at home, where do you come up with $2,000 all of a sudden to pay for something that you didn't plan to have happen? So insurance it's expensive, and what needs to be fixed is we can't fix. And we may as well not even comment on it, but the fact is that it's a tremendous benefit, and that benefit we need to protect as much as we can.
So I think, yeah, they kind of heard some rationale, so make sure that you consider that as you get a proposal, so that's good. We're also, Cassandra wants some more clarity around Department 33 and 41, so what type of clarity?
So Department 33, I took your recommendations from last week. I handed out sheets if you didn't get them. They were on your desk. I took your recommendations from last week, suggested changes. I also increased Chamber of Commerce by the $30, and just want to make certain that this is where you want this to look.
I got a phone call last Tuesday afternoon, I believe it was, from a representative on the board up at the Memories Are Forever, and she was told by a person from the Bremer County Historical Society that Bremer County is, and I quote, giving out up to $10,000 grants for helping projects at museums and places like that. And it made me think about what our intent was 4 years ago, 3 years ago. This body used to give the Bremer County Historical Society $1,000 a year for help offset some operating costs. They came to us and asked for a one-time, they called it a grant, we called it the one-time cost, and we gave them $10,000. Then the following year, they came back in and asked for $10,000. Is that going to be the norm? Are we going to support them at $10,000 a year, or are we going to at some point drop back to some number in between there? And if we are, then are we going to also support the private ones out there that are going to make that? I don't know if, Bob, I gave her your name because I said it's ultimately up to the chair whether or not that conversation even gets opened up this year. I felt the process was too far along to even have the conversation. I gave her the BOS number and your name. I don't know if she contacted you or not, but where are we going from here is, I guess, my question. We heard the clarity today from the Fair Board that said that sounds like next year they're not going to be requesting that $40,000, which I think is a good thing. I mean, these places used to be pretty self-sustaining and did through donations and such, and now all of a sudden, you know, we've decided to start taxing for it. And, you know, this is a spot where we're not required. We're doing it out of the goodness of our discussion. So, what are my colleagues' thought there?
Yeah, I concur with you. I think we really should take a hard look at this and look at what, you know, what really serves the core functions of county government. I think looking at these numbers, we've strayed from that. A case can be made for every one of them, you know, on its individual merits, but.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but I feel really pretty strong about this point. The only one we haven't really helped is the one that we keep saying is the most critical, is the EMS. We haven't changed that at all. So what are our priorities, and when are we going to address that or fix it? So, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you did. And you actually made my point, like refocusing our priorities on this and understanding that with the limited tax dollars we have, maybe we can't help everybody, and we definitely can't help them to the full extent that they're asking. I think this is an opportunity. We know where we're at now we've seen the budget assembled, we've seen the shortfalls, what we're going to draw down on fund balance if we fully fund it. Here's an area where we can use maybe a little greater discretion and help balance those numbers at the end of the fiscal year.
And to further my point, you know, the Janesville Library and the Waverly Library are and the Veterans Center are good examples. They came to us and appealed for pretty much one time or a defined number of years contribution, and then it ended. But some groups aren't doing that, and so, Bob?
So, help me out, Bremer County Historical Society, at one time, it was 1,000, you know, what year, or?
I think it was the year before this where it bounced to 10,000. I think it was.
It's been a while. FY '21 was the last year that it was 1,000. FY '22 was 10,000.
Okay. So 1 year before this, it was at 10.
Yeah.
And the original plea for that was to fix a wall that was decaying and falling away from.
Okay.
Time flies because it doesn't seem like it was 21, but.
22.
And then, you know, I do kind of like the fair, you know, maybe have two lines, you know, we should maybe have, you know, Bremer Historical Society operations, $1,000, capital, you know.
That's a great idea.
So to help us, but. Okay. So right now, she has updated the things, as you can see, you know, Northeast Iowa Action, that got trimmed down. Chamber went up to, they did update their investor level at 1030, and then the libraries we toned down just a little bit. So those are kind of the three changes from last week. Are you guys comfortable with this level?
Well, we didn't, we trimmed back a little on the library, but
Correct.
we still went up $5,000.
Correct. I think they wanted 210, forget now.
Yeah,
210.
if your sheet's behind, you have.
205.
205.
And I did also
450.
take out the Allen Child Protection Center funding, till it's a place where services are being provided, and then we can enter into a service agreement and do funding that way.
So really, it's the fair, you know, are we okay with this, at least where we're at on 33? Any more changes you guys want to see on 33?
Not today. I still not set on these numbers as we work through this. I think we
This
still
be the
may-
high numbers, we might have to.
We still might have to come back and trim a little from here, just to make numbers meet at the end.
Okay. So,
I do think though, to my earlier point, that, you know, the ambulance, first responders, EMS situation probably needs to be readdressed and consider that being increased. And that may help solve a significant portion of their problem.
we are, you know,
So,
we're going through the EMS levy. We're having some good discussions, but I can bring that up to them, so. So it's 11 o'clock. Can we talk about 33 next time? Is that okay?
So 41?
41.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So I guess maybe with EMS, just real quick before we move on, or the ambulance first responder, ask if there was more support there given, what would that look like, and what would those
Right now, you know,
marginal?
they put in a request for a $65,000, that'd be the capital project for a study.
Correct.
So that would be the thing right now they're asking for. But we're having a meeting tonight on that. All right. We're going to 11 o'clock. We have Jackie Bailey here. Jackie, why don't you come up here? Our mental health advocate has resigned, and Jackie has been gracious to, you know, talk to us about taking over that position. She currently is working in Blackhawk County and does a little bit in Grundy County. So Jackie, tell us a little bit about yourself, and I know Darius speaks highly of you, and so just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you can bring to this position.
Well, I've been doing the mental health position for 21 years, and most of that is full-time, 19 years full-time. And then I've recently helped out with another smaller county for coverage, Cerro Gordo, and so I'm just back down to Blackhawk and hope to retire sometime soon for the full-time, and then just do this part-time. And I live in the county, so good access. Other previous work experience includes supervision type positions, HCBS coordinator, supervisor, a BHIS type program back in the probably early, well, at least 25 years ago. I was a supervisor for several years, and then a domestic violence project I was a supervisor for. So I've got some background, and this is the job that I enjoy, helping others, knowing their rights, because when you're court committed, you have a civil commitment, which means you have court directives. You might be housed in an institution or an inpatient stay for several months, weeks, days, and then I'm appointed right after the hearing to help that person navigate the system and know their rights. So I'm a good liaison to the court, so to speak.
and you help them receive services that they might be eligible for as well.
Yes, and that can be in a few different ways. I've helped people appeal decisions, usually in this mental health region type, now Iowa Primary Care Association navigators. There is an appeal process. When you're court committed, you're at the highest level there. And if you're not receiving services, I think you have a right to go back into a hearing and try to address, those needs. So you can do it that way, or we can appeal the decisions from Iowa Primary Care Association.
So I applaud your years of service. I think that
Thank you.
It's admirable because I was on the mental health board for
Oh,
the
wonderful.
duration of mental health boards for Bremer County, and I know the value of
Thank you very
your
much.
service. I was going to ask you what drives you, but you had up on me and already answered that question. Your desire for serving others is.
really what it is.
And
so.
just having a loved one that was in the system at the very highest level, and the needs are there. And there's all kinds of considerations, medications, insurance, you know, there's some deficits out there. And, you know, doctors, you know, I interact with doctors, nurse practitioners, just to help address the needs.
And the attorneys are the only ones that you struggle working with, right?
Maybe a few judges or county attorneys. No, they're all pretty good in the system so far.
So we talked to Jack, just for transparency, we said we could probably match Blackhawk County's wage, $39.39. That's what you're getting paid currently at Blackhawk. She would be an occasional employee if she's appointed. She'd be occasional on our books. So she's going through the auditor. She may require a PC down the road. So if once again, if this is something just to be cognizant of, and then she talked briefly that she might go part-time after retirement, but any type of retirement transition she would take care of. Probably lastly is, since she is new, we definitely want to bring her in at least maybe quarterly until she gets her, everything is settled. So, just come here and talk. We're pretty easygoing.
Okay.
Except for him.
Sounds good.
So, any thoughts or any more concerns? So you guys have a wage sheet, so we'll vote to appoint her as Bremer County Mental Health, Jackie Bailey. Any other discussion?
I move to appoint Jacqueline Bailey as the Bremer County Mental Health Advocate and
Second.
set her wage at $39.39.
Sorry for interrupting. Second.
All in favor of Jackie Bailey becoming our Bremer County Mental Health Advocate, say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. You're now our mental health advocate starting today, so get to work.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lucky to have found somebody local.
Thank you. I'm not a public speaker, can you tell?
Good job. You
Oh,
did
thanks.
fine, Jackie, thank you.
Thank you. I've been working with you.
Yes, yes. We've talked so many times, you never think we'd ever come.
I said that in the interview. I know everybody. Are you taking off?
So we're going to be 11:15. Darius is going to be talking about some pipeline stuff. We'll be going into closed session. I know Lindsay will probably be invited to that one. That's okay, right?
Discretion of the chair.
Yep. I would like to have Lindsay there. Okay. And then we'll take action. So thank you for joining, everybody.
So is your department doing okay with that new wage?
Depends on how many hours she works.
That's why we're going to meet with her quarterly, because she is saying that, she does things a little bit differently, so it may impact the hours. But I told her that, we got to be cognizant of our budget and et cetera. So that's why we'll meet with her quarterly.
Okay, so is it better to just leave the budget as is and amend when needed then, or up it at this time?
I think
It's reimbursed, so,
It is, but it's expensed.
yes, and that's what I'm saying, that you could raise it and then raise the reimbursement. They're gonna wash each other out if you wanna have a little bit more wiggle room.
That's what I would do if I were you.
It seems like it makes sense to me. It'd be one thing if it was something that we had to foot the bill on, then it might be better to just wait.
so. Right now it's 7,000 something.
I think we have 9,000.
9,000? Okay.
For the wage line.
I don't know how fast they are for reimbursement either, so.
They're quick.
They are for that
They're
position?
reimbursing twice a month.
Okay, good.
They're as quick as I am at getting it to them.
Okay.
So at least raise it to 10. But at least.
No Margaret today.
Let me look and see how many hours Angela Nelson actually averaged a year. It was just
Yeah.
like
Well, just, I guess, do it that way, times the new wage rate, it might go up to 11, 12. So,
Right.
yeah.
I'll take a look at it.
That will bring the bigger cost. Yeah.
Well, and then Angela wasn't costing us anything, she wasn't buying supplies, she wasn't their work, it was a little.
It's under capital projects, we have like workers' comp insurance for 40,000, is that all encompassing, is that just for certain departments? What?
So it's for
Yeah, she'll need the potential PC down the road.
the
I
departments
don't know
that
how
are
soon that
out
will
of
be. Because without the
general
information,
basic kind of supplemental.
we'll have to account. So,
Or-
you wanna get Lindsay?
Let me
Sure.
look. I think I got it marked.
No,
I'm
dude, I
just
did
wondering
not
if
get any
there's
response from anybody about
Some items here that really
museums.
should be like
About what?
non-departmental, and I mean, it's
Museums.
just,
So
Yeah.
this one
Well,
is
I'm
a
not
$40,000
surprised, because I
with a $40,000
made it pretty clear that
okay.
Because
the
it lets
process
me
was
have
so
enough
far
wiggle
along
room
that
before I bill it
making a
out.
budget request
Make
now,
the
and I
payment.
also pointed out the
The
um,
non-budgetary,
challenge with
Or
it being
non-fund,
totally a private
general fund or
organization,
general
and the
supplemental
law doesn't
actually
really
write me a
allow
check.
us to give
so
dollars
it
to a
is
private
in
organization.
out.
Dollars in, dollars out, so it's just placing here is just housekeeping.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Probably-
lowering it
probably
would
the
just mean
same
I
thing,
would
huh?
lower on the revenue side. So it's,
You probably use like real property insurance, equipment insurance, vehicle insurance is probably a similar situation.
there is no reimbursement there. It's back in FY '24.
You calling him, or is he
We
calling us?
moved
We'll call him.
Anybody that was general fund or general supplemental, we moved them into this department because it was all not the same fund anyways. It took a little less leeway in their department, and, if it was easier to do budget-wise, and also if there was money left over or whatnot, it wasn't wiggle room to use as.
Discretionary.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha, thank you.
Lindsay, did you still have ordinance?
Yes. Yeah.
The lady I did speak to said that she didn't say, she spoke very highly of your father. She delivered her children back in the day. And he was just the greatest doctor.
They all say that. My mom and dad are great, but Bob,
What happened?
Such a disappointment.
What went wrong?
that last zoning thing, yeah, that's, they said. Alrighty. Darius has asked for a closed session in accordance to Iowa Code 2021.51C to discuss strategy with council.
Correction, Mr. Chair. Technically, I'm not the proponent of this.
I actually
Mr.
requested
Serwinski is.
Okay.
Darius to assemble this.
Okay. So Corey has asked that we go in closed session in conjunction to hear some legal strategy. So closed session for Iowa Code 21.51C, discuss strategy with council. That'd be with Darius and Tim Whipple. Will get on the phone to discuss those things. Do we hear a motion to do that?
I'd move to enter closed session.
Second.
Second, we have a first and a second, so we'll like to go into closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Mr. Chair, point of
Ordinance.
clarification, sorry, just on legality. Did you list the code section?
Yes, 21 to.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, just want to make sure.
Aye.
Dewey votes aye, Corey votes aye, and Chairman Brunkworth votes aye. So all three vote aye. We are now in closed session. We are, all three votes to go out of closed session.
Thanks, Tim, thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Darius.
So now we have a motion in front of us. 2302.
I move to act on legal recommendation and submit to planning and zoning to, directive to repeal ordinance 2302.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion. So, Lindsay, any questions?
Not at this time. I'll get with Darius on.
What does planning and
Formalities.
zoning really need to do with this?
By state code, anything coming through planning and zoning to be repealed has to go through the same process in which you enacted it, meaning they have to set a date for public hearing, hold their hearings, and then after it's adopted, bring it to us. We'll have to go through the same process. Talked to Darius about this last night. We probably will be in our best interest if we issue a public statement on it. There's going to be a lot of questions about this, something, the intent and the process we're going on, so it's a very controversial subject, so.
Great.
So is Darius going to prepare that public statement, or is Tim Whipple going to prepare that public statement? Or?
That wouldn't be a matter for legal counsel to draft. We'd have to look over, but that probably should come from the board.
Okay, Corey, you want to make a first stab at it? And then can he show it to you then?
Absolutely.
Yep, okay. Great. So once again, we're on the repealer to send back to planning and zoning, 2302. Any more discussion? Seeing none. All in favor for repealing Bremer County Ordinance 2302, the various sections of Bremer County Zoning Ordinance 2207 for the purpose of regulating and restricting the use of land or transport of hazardous liquid throughout a hazardous liquid pipeline. Say aye.
But what point of information, Mr. Chair?
Did I say that all correct?
You're not actually repealing it right now.
Correct.
You're recommending to send it to P and Z for their consideration to repeal. 2302.
Okay. And now, since we're in an open session, what can we tell the public on this? I probably jumped ahead a little bit too far. What can we tell the public on this right now? Darius? I'm
Yes.
asking you a question.
Yeah, I got that part.
So we have this in front of us. What can we tell the public why we're doing it?
That's perhaps conversations we should have offline.
Okay. But can we just say that?
Well, we've already told the public, so we should at least say that we will be adopting a full disclosure of why this process is occurring because of court actions that happened. There, we just said it.
Okay.
Something needed to be said, so, and that's what happens when,
Yep.
so.
I appreciate that synopsis. So now we're gonna move this ordinance to send it back to P and Z for repealer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Are we clear? Everything clear? Good. We will ask Landon on this next one for the surveying, and that'll come back to us at a later point in time. Any more questions?
I'll work with Darius on a public statement.
Great. That is the end of our agenda. Anything you need from us?
No, we'll discuss again next week.
Great.
Budgets.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We're done. Thank you very much.